Mackenzie
Lamar. Are we doing a
trying
car
to do
movie? What's happening?
like a quarterback audible kind of thing, like at the line, but it's coming out more like we did in August.
Yeah, I was like, this is coming out like an engine, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Anyway, we're doing Remember the Titans today, rolling on with Fan Jan, another audience request. And I'm curious, we would mention last week, this is a very Disney football movie, but where does this, I don't think this is your favorite football movie, is it? Do you have a favorite?
I mean, I definitely did not have a favorite prior to this conversation. We're gonna have to get there together.
Yes, let's talk this through.
I was trying to think, and so I like gave it a quick Goog. I forgot we did The Replacements, which I think is a fun time.
Yeah.
I think that's a great, fun football movie.
Highly rewatchable.
We have not done The Blind Side, which I really liked until recently. Some of the like new information came out about that kind of shat on it a little bit. And then one that I forgot about, silly enough, Rudy. It's a big football movie, obviously. Oh my God, Varsity Blues is on this list as one of the best. That's wild. Yeah, so I don't know. Of those, I'd probably still go Blindside, even though it hasn't aged well. It's a really good movie. It's a really good movie.
There's controversy around it?
Yeah, apparently the Michael Oher has like since sued the family for kind of stealing his life story and things, and Leanne Tui was, kind of turned out in theory to not be as genuine as is portrayed in the movie. I don't know how much of that is true, but I do know he sued them, so that's not great.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so I don't know. I really loved that movie when it came out. It was one of those that like I could rewatch over and over, not least because of Sandra Bullock's incredible performance, I think, in that film. So I think taking that out of consideration, that was probably maybe my favorite. What about you?
I don't know that I have one, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard. You want inspiration? Did you look?
Yeah, I was doing the same thing you do, like looking at the top lists online, and I was shocked by how many I haven't seen. I don't know that I've seen Rudy all the way through, honestly.
You've seen The Waterboy though, haven't you?
I fucking love The Waterboy. I'm like, I know that is probably what's like reprehensible from some people's perspectives, but
it was my sister's favorite movie for the longest time. Yeah. I've seen it way too many times, but yeah, I don't think you're alone. I don't think
Waterboy, Replacements, Little Giants. Like, I love comedy football. I haven't seen either Longest Yard. I haven't seen Any Given Sunday. Any Given
Sunday is good, except for he doesn't really give football coach to me, to be totally honest.
Pacino?
Like, yeah, I was like, I mean, he sells it as Pacino. Like, he's just a Pacino, and he's great, and he like does a great job because he's him. Yeah. But I'm like, I've never seen a football coach like Al Pacino. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, I'll get around. I think what I'm learning is we probably need to at some point we did a whole baseball month back in July. We probably should do a football month at some point with how few I've seen.
I'm realizing this now at the same time. Yes, I agree. And Rudy, I remember being great, but I also remember being so heavy and hard and being like, I've watched it probably twice, maybe 2 or 3 times. It's just not one you rewatch on the regular for that reason, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the only other one I can think of, I just recently watched the Friday Night Lights movie because I loved the TV series. I would put the TV series above any football movie that I've seen, including the FNL movie.
I thought that was good. Series still, it's been on my list for a very long time.
It is a teen drama at times, but I just think the family story that they tell, and so much of it, as the seasons go on, there's actually less and less football. Like, it's still revolving around the coach and the players, but there's so many more interesting stories off the field. That you get, like, you'll get a football game every 2 or 3 episodes, but for the most part, it's about them and their lives. And it's all filmed around here in Austin, so it's cool to see.
Yeah.
See the Round Rock Water Tower in the first episode, and I used to live down the street from the ice cream place in there. But really worth watching. But it definitely gets a little corny. Season 2 is a little rough, but definitely recommend.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, guys. We're going to do a football month at some point. Mostly to educate Lamar.
Every season of Friday Night Lights. You also get a baby Michael B. Jordan. Well, not baby, but post-Wired, but
A baby. We get a baby Ryan
pre-movies.
Gosling in this, so I know
Oh,
exactly what you're
yeah.
saying. All right, let's roll. Welcome back to We Drink and We Watch Things. I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Lamar.
And we are continuing the fan jan. As we said, we are on Remember the Titans, a Disney classic, I would say.
Yeah. Is this the first Denzel movie we've done?
It cannot be. It cannot be. That's disrespectful, arguably. Like we might need to be fired.
Yeah.
No, because we've talked about him, but maybe in reference of other films that we've talked about. But
we have anyway.
We need to do like Training Day or Fences. Fences is like an August Rush thing. That was like a theater kid gone movie thing. But yeah, man. Okay, well, on the to-do list as well. We're just giving ourselves a lot of homework today. Before we get through all that, though, what are we drinking / not drinking?
Yeah, Mackenzie and I are both doing Sober January, so she has made the drink, and I don't. Are you going to taste test it?
I'll taste test it again, but that's it.
But as always, from @CraftWorld, thank you for making this, and you guys are free to make this at home. I'm sure it's going to be delightful, even though I am not personally drinking it. But this is 2 ounces of vodka, lemon vodka preferably, if you have that on hand, or limon. Half an ounce of Saint Germain or elderflower liqueur, half an ounce of lemon juice, and 0.75 ounces of simple syrup. You're going to shake and strain that into a Collins glass with crushed ice, and then top it off with iced tea. And we are calling this, Mackenzie, let's see if we can get this right. I'll do half, you do half. Okay. Left side.
Strong side.
And that is what we're calling the bevy. And it looks delicious for those of you that are on video.
I made it so pretty. I did a little lemon garnish.
Well, give it a little sippy and let us know how it tastes.
Fun fact, don't like iced tea. So just know this is a biased opinion.
Like this
going in.
Garbage. Nobody make this. All right. Well, cheers anyway.
Cheers. It's not bad, actually. It kind of mostly hides the tea with the other ingredients, but I can still taste the tea, and that's the part I don't like. But I think on the whole, it's pretty refreshing, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ingredient list, and this feels like a really good. I mean, it's January right now, but it feels like a good summertime.
It would be a lovely
season.
summer cocktail. Yeah, I'm not going to drink it, but I think you guys will all love it. Alrighty, well, let's get into some basics, and I'm going to try and do the thing again where I just do one thing. I don't even know yet if that really helped last time, but we're gonna give it a shot. So, Remember the Titans, also a 2000 film, which was not planned, but that was interesting. Two in a row. Big movie making year for us.
It's also 2 movies in a row where racism gets solved. In this case, football solves racism, and last week it was music that solves racism. That is a joke, guys. I know racism is still a problem, but in the context of the films,
I truly hope you don't have to actually asterisk that for the people, but you never know.
You'd be surprised.
Okay, yes. Lots of racism here as well. This is, however, a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and 72% from critics, which I could sort of get. I don't know. We'll get into it.
Cheesy. Yeah,
it's cheesy.
Got an element. I know it's a true story, but they still ham up. So they amp up some of the more heart kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like emotional,
heartfelt moments.
Heartfelt,
the emotional,
yeah. They
catharsis,
definitely
the Disney of it all.
Yeah,
they Disneyed it up, is what I would say. 93% from audiences, though, because that formula works, as we have seen many times. Yeah. Our director here hilariously knew fuck all about football when he took this job. His name is Bo Ziatkin, and he went to basically football camp himself to learn how to direct this movie, which I thought was hilarious.
I just like that he had the balls to, like, no pun intended, accept, yeah, I'll direct this. But
yeah, sure. I'm sure I can figure it out.
Yeah.
It's probably a commentary on football, right? Where he's like, yeah, I can figure it out. I'll be fine. I don't know. Yeah. It was bold. It was a bold move. I also think I highly recommend you check out this man's IMDb history. I will not go through it all, but what I will tell you is it's varied as fuck. And one of the things that I chose to call out was Uptown Girls, because it felt the least like this movie to me. And so he has also directed that. Fun
I
fact.
wanted to call out that he wrote The Punisher from the 80s with Dolph Lundgren. That was one of his first credits, was writing The Punisher, which I thought was fun. And then I thought, Mackenzie, have you seen this movie called Max that he did? That's about a
Of
military
course they
service
didn't.
dog?
You know why? Because it's going to be sad. There's going to be something really sad happening to the dog. So no, I did not watch it. Like, oh, I don't need that emotional turmoil. Have
I
you
don't
seen
know
it?
that I mean, I just looked at the plot. I feel like it's not the dog. Well, like the dog, the plot is that he is a service dog, and I think the soldier that he's in service of is killed in war, but then the dog comes back and like lives with the soldier's family. So I think the dog is okay.
Something always happens to the dog in these movies, though. Something terrible. Like either you get to the end and he's done all these wonderful things and you still have to watch him die because dogs' lifespans, duh. Or he's like terribly injured or they show a terrible war scene or what. I can't do it. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Unsubscribe.
Okay.
Anyways, sorry, y'all. I got amped about that. Writers. Okay, Gregory Allen Howard wrote this. He's written a bunch of great stuff. One of the ones I know I've mentioned before that I highly recommend people see is Harriet. We recently did, talked about
like true story / biopics because he did Ali as well.
Yeah, he did. And so I think that one's really good. That one's not a musical, but it does have Cynthia Erivo in it, who we just spoke about in Wicked, who sings an incredible song in that film. So anyway, highly recommend. Major cast and crew, obviously Denzel, which apparently we have been neglectful of to date on the pod. Sorry, we didn't mean to. Coach Herman Boone, and he's done, I mean, we mentioned a couple already, so I'll mention the one that I haven't. He was super well known for the Book of Eli, which I actually have never seen. I've heard great things about, but I've never seen it.
I've
seen
also heard the Equalizers are good, and I've never seen any of. They've made 3 of them, but I've heard they're actually pretty enjoyable as action films go.
So have I, and I need to watch them because it when I first saw the very very first trailer way back, I just sort of assumed it was going to be kind of like, I don't know, cheesy actiony, and but yeah, no, I've heard really good things, so definitely on the list. Will Patton, who I love for a bazillion things, plays Coach Bill Yoast. He's kind of a supporting character actor in a lot of cases, but if you look at what he's well known for, this one is not called out, but it's one of my favorites, which is Gone in 60 Seconds. So,
ooh, okay. Yeah, I was going to go Armageddon, another one from that same kind of era.
Yeah. And then we have Wood Harris, who plays Julius Campbell. He was recently, I wanted to call out, in One Battle After Another.
Yep.
And he's obviously done lots of other things, but that's kind of some of his more recent stuff you should check out.
Barksdale on The Wire.
Ryan Hurst plays Gerry Bertier. He has done a really wide range of things, actually. It's kind of wild. I thought I would call out a fun one of his. He was in Rango, which I haven't seen in ages, but is a fun animated movie, as I recall. And he was apparently voices a character in that.
Big in TV now. He was Sons of Anarchy,
Yeah.
and then he went from that to Walking Dead. I don't know what he's doing like these days, but yeah.
I looked at his picture, and he looks very like Nordic Viking energy.
It's
in
so
his
weird,
IMDb
to see
picture.
him in this without a beard. I just yeah.
The little baby face in this is so funny. Donald Faison does play Petey Jones. Done a bunch of things. You will most likely know him from Clueless.
I was just going to say, we've done more Donald Faisons than we have Denzel, because this is the third. We did Can't Hardly Wait and Clueless.
Again, the disrespect. I feel ashamed. Sorry. Okay, Hayden Panettiere. I cannot say her name. I literally cannot say her name. I practiced. Panettiere. I apologize, Hayden. You have a lovely first name. Your last name annoys me. I'm sorry. She plays Cheryl Yoast. Done lots of things. I think she's most well known for being in Heroes, though, the TV series. I didn't watch it, but I know that's kind of
first season was
real
great.
breakout.
And everything else was not great. Yeah. I
also like. It's a J.J. Abrams, isn't it?
He might have produced it. I don't know that he had anything to do with the writing of it, because it got real bad. And also, if her name hadn't been in the opening credits, I don't think I would have realized this was her. She's such like a baby.
Really?
Yeah, I think Janelle realized it about an hour in. She went, like, took out her phone. She's like, "Oh yeah, that is Hayden Panettiere." Like, I had seen it in the opening credits, but I feel like it would have taken me a second to realize it.
I mean, she is a bebe in this. Speaking of bebes, We have a Bebe Ryan Gosling in this, which I'm not going to get into all those folks that are in this. There's a bunch of cameos and small parts. He doesn't have a ton to do here. Kate Bosworth's another one. It's just a lot of like really young folks around that time that are in this briefly. But he's funny because he just stands out as, I mean, when you see him versus now, which we've talked about him on the pod a lot, you're like, oh, what a baby. What a
This
little
is
baby
only
face.
his third film, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
very early on.
He doesn't get a lot of the focus because he's a fucking liability. He's a terrible cornerback. They keep having to pull him out of the games because he's so fucking bad.
I mean, he pulls himself out, so we'll just, we'll give him credit for that. He realizes. Okay, quick plot summary before we get into all the spoilers. So in 1971, Virginia high school football was everything to the people of Alexandria, because obviously. But when the school board was forced to integrate an all-black school with an all-white one, the foundation of the football's tradition was put to the test. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Okay, turn around, don't drown. It's spoiler time. I'm going to start with the one that annoys me the most, which is that this is in 1971. Mm-hmm. The school was integrated in, I believe, 61. So my fundamental and first question for you, and I don't know the answer, so it really is like for me a conversation. They change, the weight of this story significantly by doing that, by changing the integration timeline of this school and making it a focal point to the plot, that this is a major challenge during this school year. People are racist to one another, to him, the coach, to, all these things. So I think I would love to start by talking about with this timeline misalignment, fundamentally changing that. Does that do a disservice to the film? How does that impact the film in your eyes? For me, it is, like we said, it kind of it adds more heaviness to this, to make it dramatic, to make it Disney-y, to make it have this catharsis that I don't know is entirely fair. So I don't know. What do you think?
I would say let's knock this all out of the way early, of never let the truth get in the way of a good story, is kind of what I would take with this. Of grain of salt, it's Disney. They're gonna, dress everything up as much as they can. We can call out we can get this, like I said, out of the way early, because the eventual car crash that happens to Ryan Hurst's character, that didn't happen until after the season was over. They had already played won the championship. So that is a lie. They won the championship 27-0. It wasn't a close game or a comeback victory like they show here. So based on a true story is always taken with a bit of, creative liberties. So I'm fine with it because it makes it a more enjoyable movie. But yeah, it's not all factual, obviously.
I mean, they did have a fourth quarter comeback against Marshall. It just wasn't in the championship. And it's the only team that really challenged them in the whole season. And they only had almost all of them were shutouts. I think it was 9 of them were shutouts. So I do think it's a great story of a team coming together. I do think there were interracial tensions, I'm sure, on some level. But what was said in a lot of the interviews that I read was it was more about the positions, the playing positions, field positions. There was a lot of tension between teammates on either side, but it was more about I want to start and I want this position or what have you. And that is what led to fist fights and, all that. But he did integrate the buses and integrate the teams and make them get to know each other and bond. And I think that's integral to how they come together as a team.
They don't spend as much time on that as I think they could. This movie could be 10, it's one of the rare cases where I'd say you could have made this 10 or 15 minutes longer, because it feels like the football camp stuff happens very quickly. And then we kind of get brought back to reality of they bonded in basically 20 minutes of sequences at football camp. And then they come back to school and it's back to reality of we're not supposed to get along. The rest of the school is not okay with this. But I feel like they could have delved deeper into the competition around that. They sort of hinted at the beginning of you can't sit my son so that a black player can take his spot or vice versa. And even the black players, I feel like when they're talking about it, it's they know they're in direct competition with each other. But they don't really delve too much into that, with the exception of I think it's Ryan Gosling's dad is the one that stands up in the stands and
loses his shit in this game. But, yeah. which he did in real life, but not in the game. And I
Mm,
think that's the thing. Like the stretch of it is in some applications in the movie a bit much for me, but yes, to your point, adds a lot to the drama of the story and yeah, telling a good story. I agree. The camp could have been longer. And because it does feel like the bonding that comes out of that camp is integral to the story and how they move forward as a team, but it also, to your point, feels a bit abrupt for that reason because we don't
mhm.
spend that much time watching that healing and that bonding happen. I love, and I think an anchor of this story, of course, is that relationship between Gerry and Julius,
Yes.
and that they have to be the two leaders of the two respective teams, so to speak, to bring them together and lead by example. And that was the inspiration for the cocktail name. The left side, strong side is like the
That
pivotal
scene is
turning
woo.
moment.
Yeah.
And like, and I even have in my notes, like, gets you in the feels every time. Like it
Yeah,
does.
it
It's so
always lands.
effective because you're just like, he's giving him, he's taking the lead. He's like, hey, I heard you. You told me I have to lead by example. I heard you. I'm learning. I'm doing it. And he meets him there. And it's really pivotal. It's a really pivotal moment. But that is the one that I think is the most credible because we do spend the most time with them, and that's great. But yeah, I agree. We could spend more time with some of the other like pockets of the team.
For as quick as it happens, it's, leave it to Disney to, it's really well scripted. Like the
Yeah.
scenes are, each of those scenes at camp are very powerful in their own way. So it is told in perfect story arc structure. It just feels a little bit
Mm-hmm.
rushed. The one part that does fall a little flat, and for all I know, this actually, I think this did happen in real life, so I'm not faulting it. The Gettysburg thing feels a little weird to me in there of like, I'm going to run you guys out
Mm.
here and make this metaphor. I'm
It
like,
didn't happen
we're
that way.
playing fucking football. Is it really the
Yeah.
same as like we're gonna be destroyed like these men were destroyed? That feels a little heavy-handed, but it's worth it because the very next scene is like the left side, strong side. So we kind of get that payoff.
Well, that's where I vacillate, right? Because it's like I can see why it works, and if you think about, I mean, if you think about team environments and sports environments, like there are these really heavy handed metaphors. There are these
Yeah.
really heavy handed battle metaphors when you're parts of these teams that, for better or worse, or however cheesy they are, really motivate
Oh
people.
yeah,
Right.
for
And
sure.
so you could see it really being effective. It didn't happen that way. They
Hmm.
did have camp there, but they didn't like he didn't go give this speech or whatever. They got a tour of Gettysburg, but it didn't work that way. But this is the part where, like, again, just the other side of that argument for me is race is always going to be relevant. Again, to your joking point earlier, we haven't solved racism yet. So is it worthwhile to integrate that in a more impactful way to this story than it even was in real life? Because it's still a problem, because it's still important.
Yeah.
It still impacted this community, even if it wasn't as dramatic as all of this. It still was and is impactful for these people. So that's one of the areas where, yeah, it does feel a little heavy handed, but I see why it works. And yeah, to your point, in the next scene, it comes together in that way as well.
It's I made this. I'm not trying to make light, but I made this joke to Janelle at the end when Hayden Panettiere. Well, I guess it's not her; it's Cheryl as an adult giving sort of the closing
Mm-hmm.
monologue of where
The
everybody ended
narration,
up.
yeah.
I made the joke of like, okay, they've gone undefeated, they've won the championship, and I wanted her to say like, and then the next season, every school decided they wanted to have like both white and black players because they realized, holy shit, we got our asses kicked because we're refusing to integrate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, not making light of that, but I was like that. It feels like it could tie that together. Um, I feel like
That's a
there
big
is,
shift in sports in general. I think it is worth noting, like the natural athleticism
yeah,
that is shown by Black people in football is and basketball, and insert sport here,
yeah.
is a prevalent and important turning point in the world of sports, because yes, they fucking crush,
Do you
you know?
remember the? Do you remember the old SNL skit when Michael Jordan hosted and he was the first black basketball player in the NBA? Like
No, I don't remember the skit.
he was
Yeah.
playing. It was all old black and white footage, and Phil Hartman is his coach, and it's really fucking funny. But they're showing highlights of the white players at the time, and they're just doing like bounce passes and like really basic shit.
And they're
And then
so
Michael
bad.
Jordan comes in and he's like dunking and stuff like that. But it was quite funny to be like the first black basketball player. So yeah.
I just think it's awesome how much it up leveled the game. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's if you look at early, say 20s, 30s football footage, in documentaries or what have you, it's a very different looking game,
Yeah.
And I think it just made it so much more athletic, so much more exciting. And I think that shows up here. So yeah, to your point, they probably did. They probably did walk away from getting their asses kicked and said, "Our bad.
I'm not joking when I say like
We're
football
wrong."
might have helped solve racism in this case, guys. Like, but there's probably a darker, grittier version of this story that you could tell, because that was something that stuck with me watching this time. It's rated PG, but this is probably the most palatable version of this story, right?
Yeah, I mean there was apparently like more cursing in this even, and they cut it. Like Disney was like, please cut the cursing. Like the coaches were cursing more, kind of at the team, and they're like, hey, this is a family film, and asked
The
them to
whole
trim
like,
it.
yeah,
So
Denzel saying, "I will break my foot off in your behind," just
I
makes me like
know.
giggle.
I mean, he
Yeah.
sells it. Don't get me wrong, because
Yeah.
his delivery is good, but you're like, he would say ass, like obviously, but no, he does a good job of it. But yeah, they definitely like PG'd it up for this
You can
version
say
of this
cracker
story.
and you can say the other C word. Not that C word, but you like you can get away with some light racial slurs, but just the PG rated ones apparently.
Only PG rated.
Yeah.
Only PG rated. 100%. Well, and I think you see also the coaches are also going along this journey with you. Like speaking of them cursing and yelling, like he's the hard ass, and he wants to. Boone wants to. He says at one point, what does he say? I'm a mean cuss, but I'm the same mean cuss to every single player. Like he
Mhm.
doesn't play favorites, and I do actually really like and respect that about his coaching style. And Yoast is more, which I think is surprising to see them take these respective roles. I love that it was based off of them, and that's very interesting to me. But Yoast is like the empathetic people type of leader coach. He
It adds an
sees,
extra layer to the I like that they
yeah,
add another layer outside of just, well, you are black and I am white, and outside of you got this job that I thought I was in
right.
line for, or that I already had basically. But I like that they add the different coaching styles as another way for them to have a bit of conflict throughout the story.
Yeah, and I like that it's not, yeah, it doesn't feel like their conflict is rooted in you're black.
Hmm.
It's
Right.
I was in line for this job, you took it.
Hmm.
I don't agree with your coaching style. I want the players to, the players trust me, and this is going to be a problem. I don't need your help running the defense. Like those are the conflicts here,
Yeah.
instead of it being about the color of their skin, which I like for them because you have enough of that in the story to begin with. And I also think it is rooted in actually an innate respect for each other's skill set, but you're different in the way that you handle the same job. Like I love that Denzel says, he's like, I assure you I'm deeply qualified for this job. And he is, and we see that he is. And I think Yoast realizes that. They just disagree about how to do it, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that's really cool. And that was true by all accounts. They were these different type of coaches, and Boone didn't want to take the job. He actually, refused it initially, but the very dramatized scene of people showing up to his house and clapping, like the community members did come to him and say, like, this is important for you to take this job. So I do think it's cool that that they kind of kept that part true of he didn't really want it, but he did take it.
If I could rewrite one or add one more thing, again, they probably could have made this movie a tiny bit longer. I do enjoy, with all the racial tension of it all, I like Louis kind of being this, he's almost like this innocent character that seems unaware of all the racial tension surrounding him. He's just
Mm,
accepting and loving of everybody, and he just loves football, right? I love that character. Shout out Ethan Suplee, who's been in everything. He's been in everything, dude, all the way back to like Mallrats. But I think he's
hmm
great in this role. What I don't like, I wish that they had emphasized the character of Rev a little more, because I feel like he's that on the other side of very accepting, but they I don't like when we lean so far into like, look, there's this sweet white boy who's like accepting of everybody, blah blah blah. I feel like they could have had Rev or another character be doing that on the other side too, of as opposed to just having the one white character that's sort of like trying to get everybody to come together.
Yeah, I do think they could have balanced that a bit more. I do think it's probably also partially because he's just both like the physicality of him. And I do not mean that as a comment on his weight, by the way. I mean that as like the way he moves, right? Like he's a big, gregarious guy in the film and as an actor. And so I think he just kind of by default steals the show a little bit.
Yeah, if this was
So I
made in
don't,
1990 or 1988, I'm guessing Chris Farley would have that role, right? Like he's so
right? Like
lovable, big guy,
he's so
like yeah.
lovable, big dude. Like it's just he just yeah, he steals the show a little bit. So, but I do think it's fair to give Rev a lot of credit for again being the guy who's like, let's just like all go along to get along. But I do think you're calling out a good point here of like while they are making this about race, that's what they chose to do in this story, and that's fine. It makes for a strong story. He is a little bit problematic as a character in that sense because he's kind of not acknowledging it, but so is Kip. Like Kip is even worse. Kip's the other white quarterback who comes in later and ends up playing quite a bit, does a great job. And fun fact, that actor was actually a quarterback for Yale University. But he does the same thing where like he wants to bond with his teammates, he loves them, he's like a hippie, so he's already kind of on the edge, like he relates to them in some way as being an outsider to begin with, but he has the privilege of being white. That's just the reality. They go into this cafe and he's talked them into going in there and saying like, no, it'll be fine, and they're telling him no, he's not going to serve us, they're not going to serve us, and they sure enough get kicked out. And this creates this like first riff of Sunshine, I guess actually is his name. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get what it's like to play with these black players and be friends with these black men, young men, and that they do not get afforded the same privileges as him. And that's where the like, I don't see color thing, quote unquote, becomes a problem. Because like you
Yeah.
need to in certain contexts, and you need to hear them tell you what they know their experience to be and trust them. And that's a very complicated dynamic to display. And I do think it's good that they called it out here because it could just be all sunshine and rainbows, pun not intended,
Hmm.
of they all get along and they just don't see color and they love each other. I love that it takes a minute to show that that's not going to be their experience in every circumstance.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier that once the football camp ends and we get this movie does a incredible job and it's so Disney, but it is just a movie full of mountains and valleys. Of you get these incredibly powerful, heartfelt moments that get you very happy, and the next scene is something really horrible happening, or like somebody says something,
Yeah.
and you get these highs and lows throughout. And I just feel like once the football camp ends and you come back to reality and you get these scenes at the school and you get Gary's girlfriend sort of distancing herself from him because of the situation, you get his mom's reaction, you get the different parents seeing things. And then that sequence with Sunshine not understanding that just because he is okay with it, that's not it, like they are more aware of their experience than you are, and him
Right.
sort of having to figure that out. I do like the inclusion of Sunshine though, because it it was almost like Disney being like, hey, we're not going to stop at racism, we're also going to have this other character who, to be fair, we don't know if he's gay or straight. Like there's references to it, girls love him, and he intentionally kisses, was it Gerry that he kisses?
It's
um
Gerry, yeah.
but just to sort of fuck with you, might be to fuck with him. But I love that line where Petey's asking him, and he's just like,
I
you're
just
my
want to know.
teammate, I'm not going
Just
to care
clarify.
either way. And he's like, well,
Yeah.
if it's not going to change anything, why does it matter? Like, what do you? And he's just playing dumb. And then Petey's just,
Yeah.
I gotta know, but we never actually find out. But I like that they
Yeah.
included that character as like, we're not just going to stop with racism in this. We want to have a couple more elements here too.
And show why it shouldn't matter as a result
Yeah.
of these, these relationships are not impacted by whatever that truth is,
Right.
and
Your
it doesn't,
teammates.
it,
Yeah.
it shouldn't matter. They're just teammates. And I love that. I mean, I do like that about Boone. His philosophy is just like, if you make it out of this, like you're going to be a team, you're going to be bonded. And the people who don't last, obviously, we're never going to be a part of that team. You see us lose a couple players, one in particular who just sabotages his teammate,
Yeah.
and I think that's an important thing to show as well, is that not everyone will come together. And while the external aversion to this integration is really exaggerated in this film, and there weren't these protests and some of these things going on, there were, of course, I'm sure, personal prejudices that people didn't overcome and you didn't see manifest in teammates and bonding and all these things. And so again, I do think it's good that they spend time with each of those things, and they show, Coach Boone taking some of that as well with the brick in the window, and how that's a threat to his home and his family as well. And I do think it's cool that I think it's impactful that they changed it to a brick, because it was originally a toilet. It was like actually an old toilet that was
That would
thrown
have been
in.
silly. I mean, I'm not
And that's
I'm not
that's why they
downplaying what
changed
happened in
it.
real life,
Yeah.
that's fucked up, but, like, I feel like in a movie that would have been silly.
And that's what they said. They were like, that would make this like a comic relief of a thing that's not funny, that
Yeah.
somebody did. And so even though it wasn't as extreme as is shown here in general, not just the brick, the protests and all these things, there were people who were opposed to this. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
South in, the 70s. And so yeah, I think it's that they do a good job of showing that. And I also think they show that he's not going to let it change how he coaches, how he
Yeah.
moves through this experience. I mean, he
I like
immediately
the
comes out of
tension of
that.
that throughout,
Yeah.
that he is basically, out on the plank the entire time of, like, if you lose a game, they will fire you.
Yeah.
So he
Mhm.
has to have this undefeated season. I also like that during that brick through the window, the argument that stems out of that is around this. It's two guys who we, at this point in the movie, feel like they do like each other, that they're very accepting of each other, like they're
Mhm.
on the same page for the most part. But the argument that stems out of it, it's around racial tension, but it's not "I don't like you," but it's "my daughters are unsafe because they were hanging out at your
Yep.
house, and it's not
Yep.
your fault." But, like, I like, again, the depth at which it would have been very easy to just play this straightforward of, like, black versus white, but they have these subtle things that tie into it, and I dig that.
The real nuance of the circumstance,
Yeah,
which is like,
yeah,
we can be friends, but my daughter might be at risk at your home. And like, that's not okay with me. That is a very human reaction, a very fatherly
yeah.
reaction to something like that. That's deeply relatable. So
Can
yeah,
we
I do like that not every conflict is about that in the same way.
right. Can we segue from that? I wrote down the child wise beyond their years trope in films and TV is always a little irritating to me. I
Mixed
feel like this one,
results. Mixed results, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
I think this one does it well enough where it's just a kid who's super passionate about football, and some of the dialogue is a little hokey, but I think for the most part it's fine. But I do just like how it contrasts with Boone's daughter and how she doesn't give a shit about football. I like there too how they play off each other a little bit.
Yeah, they're a cute foil to one another. Apparently not super accurate, but they were cute in this movie. I do think the Cheryl's like obsession with football. I I love this for a little girl, a little person, doesn't matter what you're into, to be obsessed with something. Like to just be like
Hmm.
so excited and so passionate, and just it become your thing, or your personality, as it were, for a little while. She takes it, I think, a little far as a character. I blame the writing. Like the kid delivers, right? The actress as a kid delivers great. But I personally think the writing takes it a little far. Like there's precocious and then there's obnoxious. And she reaches, to me, obnoxious levels as a character of like, if this kid talked to me that way, like this would not go well, And I am predisposed to loving kids. I love kids, but I would walk to that kid's parents and be like, get a handle on your kid. Like she needs to
Yeah.
chill out. Like
Yeah, it's definitely a bit much at times. That's the part of the movie I
she's cute.
think
She's
the
cute.
first few scenes, I think as the movie goes on, I become more okay with it. But the first handful of scenes, I'm just like, oh, here we go, this trope. But
Yeah.
it gets better.
Yeah, she's hypercritical, but I do like later, where again she's taken it a little far here and there, but I love that she runs down there during the championship game, which again we've said is a little bit different than how this played out. But they do have this fourth quarter comeback situation against Marshall, and I love that she comes down and basically schools her dad, like, "Hey, I think the world of you and you're awesome, and this should have been your job, but by the way, you're fucking it up." Like she's just like, you need some help. And I do think that's the shift in their relationship, and another moment of like almost left side, strong side, leading
Yeah.
by example of like in front of the team, him asking, "Hey, coach, I need your help on this. I'm not reading the offense the right way, and I need your help, with the defense." And I like two things about that. One, that he's asking for help and he's leading by example. But two, that Coach Boone up to this point has not interfered. He's
Right.
walked across the line a couple times and said, hey, like, I want you to get it under control. But he has not taken it over up to this point. He could have. But he's overall, again, I think respects this man and has let him run his defense accordingly. But once he asks for the help, he's all in. And I think that's a good moment for them.
Yeah, it's one of those moments, again, of just how this movie delivers in so many ways. You just are on an emotional roller coaster this entire film of these ups and downs, and that's definitely one of them. I love when the white police officer pulls up next to Jules, and you don't know how that's going to play out. And again, this did not solve racism. We understand that even watching this now, I would understand if someone watching this now rolled their eyes when they saw that scene, because we know that bad things still happen with police officers. But I do think in the context of this film, it's very powerful of like, okay, you're on this football team, like a little bit of respect there. I also love Jules meeting Gary's mom and like hugging her to say hello. Cute. I think that's a cute moment. There's a lot of that. Sunshine coming in after Rev gets injured. And doing that whole like, hey, let him through. And he just sort of hits the guy and gives him this stare down, just steps up big in that moment. It's a fun movie to watch for as heavy as some of the stuff is. You just know you're going to come out of it feeling really good. Lots of endorphins.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of wholesome moments. Yeah. I think Julius and the mom moment is so cute. It's a very sad moment, obviously. Gerry, passing away, and it's sad that it's true, that he has another brutal accident and passes away, and they show the funeral scene. And I love that Julius is there with his mom again, like that,
holding her hand. Yeah.
Friendship he's holding her hand, and that friendship has still been an anchor. And I love that their friendship has been a source of growth for the respective people in their lives as well, including her. And that, she came from a place of prejudice, very deep prejudice at the beginning of this story. So yeah, a lot of wholesome growth moments like that.
I forgot that the
really
movie
great.
Opens with them arriving at the funeral, and you're not entirely sure who it's for, and then we come back around to that at the closing. I think that's pretty powerful. I wrote down another inappropriate joke, which is after Gerry gets into the car crash, and then Coach comes in and is like, they're all around him talking football, and he's like, you have to, like, Coach Yoast is in there, and you have to rest and blah blah blah, and he looks at Coach and he's like, I'm hurt, I'm not dead. And then I'm like, well, 20 years later, the Coach Yoast is like, I got you, son of a bitch.
Oh my god,
I wanted that line delivered in the final scene by Coach Yoast.
That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up.
Sorry.
I do love the humor of him when he's, again, we've already established that's not when that timing happened, but him trying to watch the game from his hospital room, and he's like yelling, and the nurse reacted, he's like throwing, don't come in here,
come in here. Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, number one, be nice to the nurses, but two, that's pretty funny.
It's like there is some great comedy in this too. Yeah. I like it's such a little throwaway thing, but during the montage when they're winning all these games and stuff, and you're seeing the town celebrating them, so they put on one of the restaurant chalkboards like Titans eat free,
and then they wipe it off,
stuffing their mouths, and then they erase it like 2 seconds later. That's a great bit.
Yeah, you can't be offering free food to teenage boys, especially teenage boy athletes. Like you're going to go out of business for sure.
We also historically, from a comedy sense, one thing you haven't mentioned in the retelling of what's happening here, we have Black people teaching white people yo mama jokes. This is what happened in 1971.
This was the moment. This was the beginning of solving racism when they introduced us to Yo Mama jokes, and then we bought. Do you remember Yo Mama jokes? Because
absolutely, I was gonna say
I fucking do. It was so impactful, like how many there were. It was so good.
I have to go back and thank the Titans of the 71, because my childhood in the 90s is much better off because of it.
I just love their confusion, right? Like all the white players are like,
they're being literal.
He's like, wait, like they're like waiting for a fight to break out. They're like, shit's about to go down. Why are they fighting with each other? Whatever. And then they're realizing, and it's cute to see them lean in and start telling them. I wanted somebody to fuck with them though, and like not let them participate, like them finally make the joke, and then somebody like rips into them, like, don't talk about my mama like that, whatever. Yeah. Nobody does that, thank goodness. But it would have also been funny to me. Yeah. Like, you can't do this. But on the whole, I think again, while exaggerated here and there, the emotional impact of this movie holds up. The way it is, performed and shot and all of that really holds up. I think it just goes without saying that Denzel Washington, as per usual, just like fucking delivers and
Without
and
him, I don't think this
crushes.
movie works.
No, I mean he plays it perfect. And there was even the story of Wood Harris was talking about how they had these scenes. He plays Julius. They have the scenes of in the stadium, and it's loud, and people are extras and whatever, and actors who are all just there talking like normal, but it's loud because there's so many. And he said that Denzel could like walk out onto the field and just like raise his hand and be like, like bring it down, bring it down, quiet down. And he didn't have to say anything. He could just move his hand and get people to everybody just quiet. And the way he said it, I thought was so impactful. He goes, Denzel, he can just lead people. He can get them to do things. And I just think that's so true in general, of course. But in this story and what he brings to the character too.
Yeah. King Kong apparently doesn't have shit on him. So
obviously not. Well, anyway, obviously, I think like I complained a little bit about doing this one because I was like, I don't have bad things to say about it really. And that's, again, still true of just like it's a praise fest a little bit. But I was glad that I rewatched it because I haven't seen it in a long time. And it is a feel good. You do like watching it and coming out of it.
The worst thing you can say about it is that it's not historically accurate. It's based on a true. We called it out at the beginning. It's based on a true story. If you watch it as with that in mind, it's probably less enjoyable when you know that this didn't happen the way that we're saying it happened. But it's just a great emotional roller coaster of a film.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with all that in mind, historical inaccuracies aside, what's your rating? Are you gut checking again? Am I bad influence on you? I love this for me.
I'm gonna go 8. I think I really, really like this movie. It is a little. I'm allowed to say it's cheesy. Like I know it's steeped in some historical context, but knowing that some of that is made up or / exaggerated, I can call this a bit cheesy. It is very Disney. But that doesn't mean that I don't have a great time watching it. Like if I were, if I had a day off work and I was flipping channels and this was on, I'd probably leave it on if I had nothing else to do. So it's very rewatchable. It's got some great moments, some really good performances. We didn't really touch on a lot of, I don't think there's I would say when you can say that probably the worst performance is from a child actor, that's, I don't think there's a bad performance. And I don't even think Hayden Panettiere is giving a bad performance. I think she's just doing what the director and writer are telling her to do.
Again, I think it's the writing and makes her a little bit annoying by default. It's not even really her fault. Yeah.
But everyone else crushes it. So I think I'm going to go solid 8. I think it's a really good film.
Yeah, I hard agree. Like I think an 8's a healthy choice. To your earlier point, I know we were a little bit joking, but I think it could be a twinge edgier, but it's not because of Disney, and that's fine. But I would probably enjoyed it if we like spent a little bit more time in the camp, or like we went a bit deeper in some of these individual characters, or like if we're gonna again commit to the racism bit, like let's commit. Let's not do just the surface level stuff maybe and spend a little more time there. I think that could be an even better version. But yes, it is a great version as is, and you leave with all the good feelings.
Takes me out of it when somebody says, you know what? I don't give a hoot about you. Like, what?
Yeah, you like snap out.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you wouldn't say that. That's not the way that you would say that. Yeah. Oh, all right, kids. Well, thanks for the recommendation, you guys. You dragged me here, but I had a good time. So it was fun. And thanks for joining this one. We have one more. Fan Jan next week. And I'm personally very excited for this one. We've talked about it, alluded to it many times on the pod, and we're finally fucking talking about it. Arrival.
Yeah, you've been wanting to do this for like a year and a half. So,
well, also I will be transparent. I haven't rewatched it in years. Same. And so like I kind of wanted an excuse to rewatch it because I just remember, I mean, I've seen it a couple of times, but I remember the first watch just being like blown away. I loved this movie. So I'm curious how it's going to hold up, actually.
Like for those that haven't seen it, I don't think this is a spoiler, but it's, aliens come to Earth, not really sure what they're coming for. There's a bunch of people that don't want them here or don't trust them. I didn't think we would make it to the end of Fanjan, and the least racist movie that we did would be Sicario. I didn't think so, but it turns out that's what it's going to be. Yeah.
Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
We got to rewatch this one to be sure, but yeah, it's we're definitely racist against aliens in this one, it seems like. But come back for that one. Very excited. But in the meantime,
follow us on our socials. We drink and we watch things on Instagram and TikTok. You can always get the video of this podcast on YouTube or Spotify video. And you can email us, we drink and we watch things pod@gmail.com. So give us some interactions, some love, some comments, some likes, all that jazz.
Indubitably. All right. Go now, have a drink, and watch a thing. Cheers.
Cheers.